Okay, today we are going to see about Unit 3, Research Design. There we are going to discuss about the meaning of research design, need for the research design, features of the research design, and what are the various concepts relating to the research design and different types of research design. And then we will be moving to the sampling, meaning steps in sampling, sampling methods. There are different sampling methods there, like probability and non-probability methods. We are going to see in this particular unit. Okay, we'll see first the meaning of research design. So research design is the conceptual structure within which research is conducted. It constitutes the blueprint for the collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. Okay, so research design is nothing but how your research will be. That you have to make it as in the conceptual structure. What and all you have to do, when you have to do, how you have to do, like that you have to make the conceptual structure. And your complete research will be conducted through that conceptual structure only. That is known as research design. So it is the conceptual structure within which the research is conducted. It constitutes the blueprint for the collection, measurement, and analysis of the data. Okay, so it is going to help as the blueprint in order to collect the data, in order to measure the variables, in order to analyze the data. Decisions regarding what, where, when, how much, by what means, concerning an inquiry or a research study. It constitutes a research design. So this research design will be helping in order to take the decisions related with what you have to collect, where you have to collect, when you have to collect, how much you have to do, by what means you are going to do, or you are going to do the inquiry. Everything will be clearly specified with the help of the research design. So it is a logical and systematic plan prepared for directing a research study. So research design is nothing but is the logical as the systematic plan of preparing for directing a research study. Then it pertains to decisions regarding the important things: what, where, when, how much, by what, concerning an inquiry or a research program will be. Okay, say example, an architect designs a building, which is called the plan of building. While designing the house, every aspect of the proposed building, that is dimensions, materials to be used for constructions, the cost involved, the time required, the shape and decorations, and what sequence the constructions will proceed, and so on, are to be considered. The same is true with the research design. Okay, so how, while you are going to construct the building, you have the planned building. So how you are going to specify in the planned building the dimensions, materials to be used for constructions, the cost, how much involved, the time required, the shape it and decorations, and what sequences the construction will proceed. Okay, like that same way how to show in the research process also. That is known as research design. Okay, so the research design primarily addresses to the following questions. Why is the study being conducted? Why you want to do the study? Why you want to conduct that particular study? What is the study all about? When will study be carried out? Where will the study be conducted? What is the kind of data required? Where is the required data available? What the technique of collecting the data? What the method of data analysis adopted? What will be the method of sampling used? What will be the format of reporting the results? Okay, so these all the questions will be addressed by the research design. So why you are conducting the particular research study? Okay, what is the reason? What all about your research study? When you are going to carry out the research study, where you are going to conduct the survey, or where you are going to conduct this research, what kind of data required, and where you can collect the data, and where is the required data available, What are the different techniques you are going to use to collect the data? What are the methods of data analysis you are going to use it? And the method of sampling which you are going to use it, and in which way you are going to format your reporting results. Okay, so these are the questions will be addressed by research design. We'll see the definition of research design. So there are different authors, they given the research design definition. The first author, P.V. Young, they given logical and systematic planning and directing of a piece of research. So this research design indicates a logical and systematic way of planning and directing the way of doing the research. Another person, Kerlinger, he defined it is the plan, structure, and strategy investigation conceived so as to obtain the answers to research questions and to control the variance. The other persons given, it is the program that guides the investigator in the process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting the observations. A research design is the arrangement of conditions for collection and analysis of the data in a manner that aims to combine relevance to the research purpose with the economy in procedure. It is the process of making the decisions before a situation arises in which the decision has to be carried out. It is a process of deliberate anticipation directed towards bringing an unexpected situation under the control. It is the planned sequence of the entire process involved in conducting a research study. So there are various authors, they given the different views about the definition of research design. So hope everybody understood about the research design. No? So research design, it always address the questions of these are the questions. Why, what, when, where. So like that, these are the questions will be answered by research design. Okay, now we'll be moving to the need for research design. Why the research design is important? What is the need for research design? It provides the blueprint. That means a researcher faces many problems like what sample is to be taken, what is to be asked, what method of data collection is to be used, and so on. And research plan minimizes all these problems of the researchers because all decisions are taken before the hand. Okay, so before going to start off the research activity, you have the research design. That means in the research design itself, you will be decided what you are going to ask, where you are going to ask, whom you are going to ask, what kind of information you are going to collect, how you are going to collect. Like that, all the things you are pre-planned. So it will be minimizes the problems related with the, these are the various activities involved while going for the research. So that is what is helped us. It is called as, it provides the blueprint. Second one, it limits the boundaries of the research activity. Okay, that means to determining whether only one cause or many causes to be examined. So that means in the research design, you can clearly specify only one reason or the many reasons you are going to examine, whether only one hypothesis is to be tested and so on. Since the objectives are clear, systematic investigations are possible. Okay, so it will limit the boundaries of the research activity. There are various reasons will be there for the particular problem, but in that, are you going to have look into all the causes you are going to take it for your research purpose, or any one or two only you are going to concentrate? So that boundary you can specify in the research design itself. So only these two reasons only I'm going to take it for that particular problem. Like that you can specify. So it is easy for you to frame the hypothesis. Whether you can frame the one hypothesis, only one hypothesis or two hypotheses, how many hypotheses are there? Okay. So actually hypothesis is nothing but as a research what you want to prove it. Okay, that you can specify in the form of the hypothesis. The hypothesis you can, sometimes you can accept the hypothesis, sometimes you can reject the hypothesis. Then it enables the investigations to anticipate the potential problems. So the researcher studies new or alternative approaches, the cost involved, solution of the problem, etc. So through the research design, as a researcher, he can easily identify how much cost required to complete the project. What are the solutions will be available to solve the problem? What are the different approaches you can go and further proceed the research activities? That you can get the ideas. Research can be conducted on scientific basis since advanced designing provides the precise guidelines. So if you are going to frame the research design, that will be helping you to follow the scientific base, and it will be providing the guidelines for you to further proceed on the basis of scientific technology. And wastage of time and money is minimized. So obviously the wastage of time and money is minimized with the help of the research design. Optimum reliability is achieved. Designing helps in giving the useful conclusions. So this research design will be helping in order to find out the useful conclusions. Then features of the research design. What are all the features of the research design? It is a well thought out plan that indicates the sources and types of information relevant to the research problem. It is a game plan indicating which approach will be used for collecting and analyzing the data. Okay, so this research design will be helping what type of sources you are going to use, or what type of information you are going to collect it through your research studies in order to relate it with the research problem. And this will be used for collecting and analyzing the data also. So it is already, this point we already discussed, it is similar to the blueprint of building. So it includes time budget, cost budget, since most studies are carried out under these two conditions also. It is a clear statement of the research problem, research methods and methodology, sample design and technique used in processing and analyzing the data. It always seeks to yield the maximum information. It minimizes bias or prejudices and maximizes the reliability of the data collected. It establishes the link between independent and dependent variable of the research program. It enables the hypothesis testing. Okay, we'll see now what are the important concepts relating to the research design. Okay, these are the terms these are the concepts. It is almost relating with the research design. So while you are going to design the research design, you will be going to use these are the variables. Okay, we'll see one by one what exactly it represents. The first one, independent and dependent variable. So what is the independent variable? What is the dependent variable? So the variable in research arena is also called as parameters or factors. So which variable you are going to consider for your research area, that variable is called as parameters or factors. Then a concept is a notion, an idea, knowledge, opinion about something. When the concept is quantified, it is called variable. In any research study, we come across the cause and effect relationship. The elements of cause are independent variables. So which are the elements it is going to cause? That is known as independent variables. And the elements of effects are dependent variables. Okay, in every statement which forms the hypothesis, you will find the independent and dependent variables invariably. So while you are going to form the hypothesis, it should be there both independent variable as well as dependent variable. Say one example they given here, smoking is the cause for cancer. Here, smoking is the independent variable and cancer is the dependent variable. So which causes the cancer? Smoking causes the cancer. So the cause is known as independent variable and the effect is known as dependent variable. So smoking is the cause for cancer, and here smoking is the independent variable and cancer is the dependent variable. So the researchers must identify these variables. Otherwise, the research will not be a success story. Okay. So say example, I said if the price of the petrol increases, the demand of the two-wheeler decreases. There I said the price of the petrol is known as independent variable. Demand of the two-wheeler is known as dependent variable. So that which is the cause? The price of the petrol increases. That is the cause. What is the effect? Demand of the two-wheeler is going to decrease or increase. Okay, so that is cause and effect. So which is the cause? That is known as independent variable, which is the effect? That is known as dependent variable. Then extraneous variable. So this concept also I already explained. This variable is also called as third party variable or strange variable in the cause and effect relationship. This unrelated variable necessarily influences a particular independent and dependent variable relationship. For example, in law of demand, the relationship is between price and demand, but the extraneous variables such as income, taste, and preferences, season, business cycle, and others will influence the demand for a product. This means the dependent variable demand is not only affected by its independent variable price, but also the extraneous variable indicated above. Okay, so if you take in this example law of demand, so here it is going to affect, it shows the relationship between price and demand. But apart from this price and demand, there are other variables also going to affect this law of demand. That is income, taste and preferences, season, business cycle, and others. So that is known as extraneous variable. So extraneous variable is nothing but independent variables that are not related to the purpose of your study, but may affect the dependent variable, are termed as extraneous variable. Third one, control. So a good research design must minimize or weed out the above said extraneous variable influence. This is called control in research design. In experimental research, the term control is used to refer to restrain the experimental conditions. That is, minimizing the effects of extraneous variable influence in a study is called control under research design. So if you are going to reduce the effects of this extraneous variable influence in your research study, then it is called control under your research design. Then confounded relationship, that is minimizing the effects of extraneous variable influence in your study is called control under research design. That will be given here in the form of confounded relationship. So a good research design must minimize or weed out the above said extraneous variables influence. This is called control in research design. In experimental research, the term control is used to refer the restrained experimental conditions. Then research hypothesis. So it is a tentative statement, the validity of which remains to be tested. When the prediction or hypothesized relationship is to be tested by scientific methods, it is termed as research hypothesis. It is a predictive statement that relates an independent variable to a dependent variable. And every hypothesis constructed must have one independent variable and one dependent variable. If a statement does not contain independent and dependent variables, it cannot be called as hypothesis. So these are the concepts I already explained, so I don't want to go. Experimental and non-experimental hypothesis testing research. So when the object of research is to test a hypothesis, it is termed as hypothesis testing research. It can be of either experimental design or non-experimental design. So research in which the independent variable is manipulated. Manipulated is nothing but whatever you want to change the variable, how it is going to affect. So if the price is going to increase, how it is going to affect the demand of the two-wheeler. So you can change the variable, that is not called as manipulated. So the research in which independent variable is not manipulated is called non-experimental hypothesis testing research. Then experimental and control groups. So in an experimental hypothesis testing research, when a group is exposed to usual conditions, it is termed as control group. Whereas when the group is exposed to some new or special conditions, it is termed as experimental group. And it is possible to design the studies which include only experimental groups or studies which include both experimental and control groups. Then treatment. The various conditions under which experimental and control groups are put are usually called as treatments. So any conditions if you are keeping while doing the research, then it is called as treatment. Experiment, the process of examining the truth of a statistical hypothesis. relating to some research problem is known as experiment. Experimental units, the predetermined plots or the blocks where different treatments are used, are known as experimental units. Such experimental units may be defined and selected very carefully in any research program.